Hello, hello, my friends, and welcome to another lunch stream episode. Thanks for joining me once again. Thanks for joining me for these weeks. This is number 6 in the series, and I'm super excited. I'm super excited to bring you this show. So if you're let me know if you're watching this. Just say hi in the chat so I can say hi back. You guys know I love to chat with you all. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to get paid to write. All right, in 2022, the hot opportunities that actually have been hot for a long time and are going to get even hotter, okay, in the upcoming year based on where things are moving. So if you're ready for that, let me know in the chat. Yes, G, we're ready to hear this stuff because I'm super excited to chat with you. Hi, Kristen. Good afternoon. Hi, Patricia. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Thank you so much for asking. All right. So, like I was just saying, today, hi, Helena, how are you? Thanks for joining. Like I was saying, today, I want to talk about how to get paid in 2022 as a writer. Dima, am I saying your name correctly? Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining me. So I saw this. I actually saw this on, I think it was Instagram stories. Somebody had shared something really profound. This past almost 2 years now, right? Because in December of 2020 and 21, it would really mark 2 years since a lot of us first heard about the virus that is still, ravaging the world. And it has changed so many industries. It has definitely upended economies. It has caused a lot of problems around the world for sure, right? Including, unfortunately, the deaths of millions of people. One of the things that the pandemic has done, however, has really shifted the way a lot of us think about work. All right. And I don't want you to ignore that. I don't want you to think, oh, it's a passing fad. Oh, it's going to shift back. Things are looking like they're never really going to shift back to what we knew was normal back in 2019. Things have shifted. Things have shifted way over. And by now, you probably have also heard about things like the great resignation, or I saw one on LinkedIn today, the great reshuffle. There's all this, the great, of how the work world is changing. And the reason why I get so passionate about talking about freelancing and starting your own business is because the world's economies are beginning to move in this direction. More and more people are realizing that, well, we used to say that you have to live in a particular city to work for us, but no, you don't. You could be living in Wyoming for all we care, and you could be working for a company out here in California, and that's perfect. And people are taking advantage of that to move around the country, move around the world, and still enjoy some great paying work. And so I wanted to share that with you. And I wanted to share this statistic with you, which I thought was amazing because it represents a great opportunity for those of us that are writers, whether you are going to be writing in an agency like I do, or you plan on just full on concentrating on freelance writing. This is going to be a game changer for you. I want you to pay attention to this. Okay, so the statistic I found was that most workers by 2027, all right, about most workers, and I think it's around 50% in the United States, will be some kind of freelancer. Now, it doesn't mean that full-time work people will just quit their full-time jobs to become freelancers. It means that, yes, some people will still keep their full-time jobs and still will be freelance consultants on the side, freelance creators on the side, creating videos, creating content for people, writing all types of content. And if you have time, I'm going to share this with you all. All right. And so you guys know how this goes. I share a little bit and then you guys can ask me questions. So, if you have questions, just make sure to leave them in the chat and I'll get to them. But let me begin to share my screen right here. Okay. And right here, it says Freelance Statistics 2021. This article just came out on October 12th, just yesterday, okay? Updated on October 12th, which is yesterday, from Skill Scouter. And it says that, all right, See, these are some of the staggering stats, but right now, 28% of freelancers call themselves self-employed consultants. And we go on, 31% of freelance workers are earning $75,000 a year or more. And this is great. And this is just from the US. But there are people in other parts of the world, other sections of the world, that are tapping into this market and are creating whole careers for themselves in other parts of the world. So if you're listening to me and you live in another part of the world, don't think that this is only limited to people that live in, quote unquote, the developed world, live in the US or live in the UK or live somewhere that seems to have more money, right? This is actually a growing industry. Okay. So it says that experts estimate that, this is the sentence I wanted to read to you guys right here. They estimate that by 2027 is just about 5 years away, a majority, all right, of the workforce in the United States will be freelancers. In the United Kingdom, the amount of workers freelancing has grown by 14% in the last decade. 4 million freelance workers are currently working here in the US. And this was more than 6 years ago, right? Now, the 4 million more freelance workers have been added. All right. All right. So that is what I wanted to share. It's like there is great opportunity for each one of us. There's enough, more than enough of the pie out there for you to enjoy. Now, you're probably like, oh, gee, but I don't feel that. I don't feel like I'm enjoying any of the pie. Where is this pie so I can go eat it? And, I recently within our agency, one of the things we're doing is looking for writers and trying to recruit for writers. And one of the things we found is there's actually, believe it or not, a lack of good writers out there. There are, you would think that with me creating content here, with other creators creating content, there's some great blogs like Make a Living Writing, that there would be so many amazing writers out there. But the reality is that there is a shortage. We posted this role maybe going on 2 weeks now, still haven't filled the role. All right. And it's not a basic role. I will say that there is like 2 years of experience required of that, but we're still not finding the people that we want. That's the first thing. And the reality is, even with entry level writers, I've had to because I have blogs, and I've had to outsource some of my writing. Let me take a drink of my tea here. I've had to outsource some of my writing, and I'll be honest with you, even as just a small operation, just trying to get freelance writers, that's hard. It's really difficult to find good writers. So the opportunity that you have here, number one, is that they're going to be there's opportunity for freelancing that is going to, be at a peak somewhere in 2027, according to experts. But the fact that there are fewer, or you may be thinking, oh, there's so many writers, I'm competing against so many writers, but the reality is that there are not so many great ones out there, gives you the opportunity to really hone in on your craft, set yourself aside, brand yourself as the writer that people want to work with, so that you can get a piece of the pie, like I was saying. And it's very easy. When I freelanced, I was easily making 4 figures per month, whilst I was taking care of a family as well. I've done this since 2017-ish, and yes, there is a lot of money and there's a lot of opportunity. All right. So where are the opportunities, right? As a freelancer, where are the opportunities? And if this is resonating with you, enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that like button. And also, if you haven't downloaded my free guide I have a free bundle that for writers that are starting out, please go to gnontra.com/free. I'm going to put that in the chat right here, gnontra.com/free, to download that. All right. So let me see which platform. I don't use platforms to find my clients, and I'm going to talk about that, Dima. I'll address that question. That's such a good question. So where are the opportunities right now? Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about the opportunities in terms of the types of content, because this is where the need is a lot currently. Number one, there's a lot of need for people to ghostwrite books for people, for especially CEOs, people in the C-suite, people that are trying to build their brands, just don't have the time. They have the money, but they don't have time to create these books that they want to write. There's a lot of opportunity there, okay, for you to partner with people in the C-suite. Now, this is you have to build up to it for sure, but there's a first time for everybody. When I started freelance writing, I had never written before, okay. All I had was a blog. And if you've heard me ever talk about my freelance writing journey, it started with a blog. So you don't have to have done all these things in order to start getting these gigs. But one great opportunity, hot opportunity right now, is a lot of people in the C-suite, a lot, and when I say C-suite, CFOs, CEOs, CMOs, everybody in the C-suite, okay, I need to write books, or they need to write a blog, or they even need to build a social media presence, but they don't have the time. And so they would rather outsource that to somebody. You can position yourself as the ghostwriter for CEOs. All right. A ghostwriter for CEOs, a ghostwriter for people in the C-suite. You can market yourself as such to get clients in this respect. Okay. Another really great opportunity right now is writing blog content. Now you may be thinking, isn't blogging dead? No. I work in a marketing agency, and I'm here to tell you, no. We are constantly pitching blog ideas to our clients to help them. And this is why we're constantly pitching them, because blog content still is one of the best ways to rank in search engines. And what are all these businesses trying to do? That all these businesses are trying to do, or what they're doing, is trying to get new customers, trying to get people to realize that they are the solution to their problem. But how do you show somebody that you are the solution to their problem? Well, they have to know. And the way they know is a lot of people, millions and billions of people every single day go into Google and will type, how do I find this product? Or they'll type what they do into the search engines. Okay, if you are the company that solves that problem for that particular thing that person is going to be typing in Google, well, guess what? You better have some kind of blog content, that free content that walks people through. Okay, this is how this is your problem. This is how you can solve it. And here's how we can work with you to solve that problem. So more and more, I find that blog content is always something that we are pitching to clients, something that we are telling clients, you need to do this. You need to own this space. The way you're going to own this space is by writing authoritative content that ranks in search engines. We're going to do the keyword research. We're going to do all of that so that you can rank, so that people can find you and see you as the authority that you are. So blog content is still hard. Now, blogging, when blogging started, used to be like people writing their journal entries like, oh, today I ate this. It's kind of like what people do on Facebook and Instagram these days, or like they took their dog for a walk or something like that, right? We post things about us. That's not what blogging is anymore. Nobody wants to read about the lunch you ate, maybe on Instagram. Nobody wants to read about that, but people want to read that you can solve their problem. And if you will create content, there are tools out there, so many SEO tools out there. All right. One of them that I like to use is one called Uber Suggest. Another one is SEMrush. They are free ones. You can even use Google itself as an SEO tool. Okay. And I've done one of the lunch streams I did. I showed you guys how to do SEO. So you would have to, I think it was number 3, lunch stream number 3. So look for that episode. And I walk through some SEO. I think it was how I increased a blog's traffic to 20K visits or something. So if you bookmark that, what to save it to watch later, because I really go in depth in that video with some of the tools. And so we're constantly pitching blog content. So blog content is still going to be relevant for a really long time, not in the sense of people just updating things about themselves, but in the sense of businesses creating content that ranks them in search engines and helps them get business through the door. That's what it's about. As a writer, as a freelance writer, your main objective, okay, most of the time, your main objective is to help a brand or business, build their brand or business. And number two, to help them get customers through the door. If you can show people that you can do that, you will win as a freelance writer. Okay. So these are two opportunities. Another great opportunity currently is also with white papers. Now, somebody has asked me to define what white papers are. A white paper is, and because I wrote about this on LinkedIn the other day, and somebody was like, "What is a white paper?" Okay, so what a white paper is, a white paper is a document, all right, that describes a product and gives more information about that product to a potential buyer. So most of the time, when people go online to search for something, let's say that somebody is searching for, there is a scientific method called, or a scientific tool known as flow cytometry. Okay, so let's say that you just started your lab, and I'm talking about this because I'm a science writer, so this comes easier. But you just started a lab, you're a professor, you just started a lab, you want to use flow cytometry, right? And you want to like kind of investigate, which flow cytometer from this company would be the best for my purposes. So now the company, if they've done a good job and if they have good marketing, would have created a white paper on the different flow cytometers that they have. And in those white papers, they would describe, first of all, they could create a white paper just on flow cytometry. So this is an introduction to flow cytometry. What is flow cytometry? What kind of process, what kind of advantages you get using it? What would you need in order to use it? What is it useful for? What do you gain? So it's essentially just selling whatever it is to that individual, but in an informational and educational way. Usually white papers are not straight up selling things. They're really giving that person an overview and information so that the person can make an informed decision when it comes to buying that product. Okay, so maybe they do a white paper just on flow cytometry, or they do a white paper on a particular machine, because flow cytometers, they're machines. And so they write, like a 5-page white paper about that machine, about the specs, about how you can use it. And they make it very user friendly and, most of the time entry level, so that people understand what they're saying. And then once the people go through the white paper, it's like, oh, okay, I think I have an idea of what this is now. And I think this machine would be best for me. Because just by looking on the website, there may be, a few paragraphs written about the product. You don't always have a sense of everything there is to know about that product. But with a white paper, you can really go in depth and describe the product, describe the benefits, describe why somebody will want to buy it. Sometimes people want something and that particular machine is not the best one for them. And so then you can go to the next one that's best for them. So really, it's important for these companies to write white papers. And white papers are not only used in science, they're used in the technology industry, they can be used in the beauty industry, they can be used in so many industries. Okay. Now, the reality is a lot of companies out, again, let me tell you some insider information. A lot of companies want to do this. They don't have the time. Sometimes they even have internal agencies. Like some of these companies have internal agencies that would work on this stuff, but those internal agencies are too swamped with so many things to create. And sometimes those agencies need to outsource these things to freelance writers. Okay. And so that's another place where you could, being a white paper writer, that's another place where you could brand yourself. Now, all of this that I'm sharing with you definitely starts with, where are your samples? If you listen to me long enough, you hear me say this. Where are your samples as a writer? Do you have a place where you're displaying your samples? Do you have samples saved as PDFs on your computer that you can send people and show them that you can do this work? I've had people ask me over and over again. I get a lot of messages about starting free and in writing. It's not, it's like any business. It's not easy to start. It's a business. It's not easy to start, but you have to start by creating your samples so that you can show that to people. All right. So these are some of the ways that you can really get paid as a freelance writer going into 2022. There's so much opportunity. And if I was to rank which one is that, like the lower hanging fruit, I would say blog posts. Blog posts are so easy to sell. Okay, they're so easy to sell. And then once you get in there, okay, you can pitch them white papers, you can pitch them other things. All right. Now, a question that Dima was asking, I love this question. Which platform that you can land clients fast at? I'm struggling, G. Okay. So personally, I do not use any platforms to get my clients. And I haven't used platforms in years. Um, the reason being, so places like, and I think you're trying to ask me, and if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat as well. Okay, I think you're asking me about platforms like Upwork, you're asking me about platforms like Fiverr and these other platforms, right? I do not like those platforms. There are other people that will tell you to use those platforms. I don't like them. And I don't like them because most of the time, people that go on Upwork or Fiverr are looking for content that's written for cheap, and you may be doing a lot of work for just a bit of money, and it's not helpful to you, it's not helpful to your health, you won't produce the best work, and you're going to feel demoralized about this whole thing. Okay, that's how I felt when I was using those platforms. So that's why if you look on my whole channel, there's very little I've created about Upwork or Fiverr or any of these platforms because I don't use them. Okay, now if you feel that that's the only way you're gonna get clients, you can give it a shot. But I don't have any advice for you on them. The only place I have advice is directly pitching publications, directly pitching companies. That's where I have expertise. That's what I've done. That's how I built my clientele as a freelance writer. Okay, so how does that work? The way that works is, first of all, and if you get my book, Winner Freelance Writing, it's cheap. You can actually even get it on Kindle Unlimited now. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free on Kindle. It's not really free because you pay for Kindle Unlimited, right? But you can read it on Kindle Unlimited right now. Now, the way you want to structure your pitches, or some people call these also journalistically call them query letters. Query letters are a little bit more advanced, I think, and I'm still even learning more about query letters because there's nuances to that. But a simple pitch, okay, a simple pitch is you writing an email, finding the emails of people that need your services. One of the things that I still do, I did this just a few days ago, so I know it works, okay, is to go into Google and just type in health publications that pay writers, tech publications that pay writers, beauty publications that pay writers. Just type that in. You're going to get a whole list of publications, of companies that pay writers for the particular niche that you want to write for. Okay. And so once you do that, go find out what their requirements are for writers. That's another mistake people make. People will just shoot out generic emails. I've even had people write to me and say, "Hi dear." I'm like, that's inappropriate. I'm not your dear. Don't call me dear. Find out what my name is. Those emails immediately go into the junk. Immediately go get deleted, because dear, like, no, look for a name or look for a contact. If there's no name, there's no contact. Sometimes you can use LinkedIn. Patricia is talking about LinkedIn, and I'll answer that question. You can look on LinkedIn to see if there's an editor or somebody on there that you can reach directly. And then don't message them on Instagram. Don't message them on LinkedIn. Don't message them on social media. Those are not professional pitches. Send an email. Okay. In this email, you want to, number one, introduce yourself. Number two, you want to tell them why you're writing, and you don't want to tell them your life story. Keep it short. And then you want to, why you're writing. The reason you're writing is because you are a writer with this expertise. And then you want to show them the samples that you have. What are the samples? Attach some PDFs. If you have a website with some of those samples, attach that link. And then a fourth thing, I used to make this mistake and I fixed it, is pitch them some ideas of what you would write if they gave you the opportunity. What would you write? A lot of these publications are constantly looking for fresh ideas. right? Constantly looking for fresh articles, especially when it's blog content. I'm talking about blog content now, right? They're looking for fresh ideas, fresh articles. And so you can really look at that publication and say, what kind of content do they write? And what could I pitch them? What are the gaps? This takes a little bit of time. I'm not going to lie. It's not going to be easy push button. This this stuff I'm telling you takes some time, okay? You're going to have to do your research and see what content do they need and how can I fill that? And then pitch them those ideas. I will say, if you send out 10 of these types of emails, you'll get 2, 3 people to say, okay, all right, yeah, I'd be interested in that. And guess what? Usually once you get in with a publication, you become one of the writers. And so let's say you pitch a platform like WebMD, Very Well Health, or any of these TechCrunch or whatever, right? You pitch them and they say yes. Entrepreneur, Forbes, all these other big places. But there are smaller blogs or smaller websites that still need your content and still will pay you well. Okay. So don't just shoot for the big stars. The smaller ones too can pay you pretty well. And then once you're in, the reality is once you're in and you can continue to pitch. And because they know you now, and when you write their first article, they know you, they know the quality of your work, you can continue to write articles for them. And you could build a whole brand as a writer for this particular brand and leverage that to go and pitch somewhere else as a freelance writer. All right. So don't sell yourself short. This also takes a little bit of confidence and faith in yourself that this is going to work. All right. A lot of the time I see fear holding people back. Keep on asking me the same questions over and over again, and they haven't still moved. Please do not hold back. Do not be afraid to put yourself out there. You heard me say this before, closed mouths don't get fed. Go out there and fish. You will catch some of it, may catch some of it, may not catch. Focus on the ones that catch. Okay. All right. So back to your question, Dima, I do not use any platforms. You said I once pitched for a blog and they agreed, but they wanted me to pay them. Oh no, don't do that. No, that's not what you do. That's not the right way to go. Okay, let's answer this question. Does connecting to publications and companies on LinkedIn, is that helpful? How to go about that? It can be helpful. It can be helpful. The way you go about that is go and look for the publication or company on LinkedIn and start following them, right? And it's as simple as that. Start following them. I would say that another place you can do this especially well is Twitter, actually. And especially you can follow editors on Twitter. Okay, so Twitter is a very journalistic heavy website, social media platform. That's why a lot of news breaks out on Twitter. And so I would say for following specific publications and specifically the editors of those publications, I would say Twitter is a place to go to follow those people and engage with them. They're people. People are people. One of the things that I always have to remember, this used to be me some time ago. Hey, and if you just came in, hello everybody. You guys know me, Gina on Trying. Today we're just talking about opportunities to get paid, all right, as a writer in 2022, and we're just in the Q&A part of this. And yes, it is helpful to connect with these people on LinkedIn, and especially on Twitter. Now, on Twitter, I would say that here is another thing about Twitter. A lot of the editors, when they have roles to fill or they need people to pitch them, they will tweet that I need somebody to pitch me so-and-so articles about this topic. And they will also post the rate. So I get those types of tweets. Actually, I subscribe to an email list that curates that for me, for science writing specifically. I don't know about other industries, but there are editors constantly tweeting out the fact that they need writers, or they need articles on a specific topic. And if you can write on that topic, or you can do your research and educate yourself on that topic, why not go ahead and pitch yourself? So yes, all you need to do is just type in editor for Forbes, editor for Very Well Health, editor for this on Twitter or LinkedIn. You'll find those people. They're not that hard to find. You can follow them and follow and interact with them. Like I said, they're people. I was saying that one of the things that used to trip me up a lot when I was getting started, um, was the fact that I always thought people were better than me, and because of that, I couldn't talk to them. Or maybe, if I talked to them, something was good. I don't know what I thought was going to happen. That's not true. People are people. People have needs. People have children, dogs. They get sick. They get sad. They get happy. They're people. They're just like you. So don't be afraid of that. Can you do a session on what writers can know about contracts when dealing with customers? These customers are publications, so you don't get ripped off. I don't even need to do a whole session on that. Let me just give you one tip. If you feel you're getting stiff, you probably are. Okay. If you're going to spend 20 hours on a document, on a white paper, and 20 hours, let's say your hourly rate is $100, and you're going to spend 20 hours on something, you should get paid $2,000. But they try to tell you that, oh, we're going to pay you 500, do not sign that contract. Okay. Also, if you don't see a contract, a working relationship does not exist. So that means that you could work and not get paid. So, and before you start anything, please get a contract. Let's see. Another thing to remember is read the contract. Read it word for word. The reason why you want to read it word for word is sometimes some people put some clauses in there that as long as you're a freelance writer for them, you can't write for anybody else. Please do not sign that contract. All right, do not sign it, because they really will do a takedown of any piece of content you write for anybody else. Okay, so these are the three big things. If there's no contract, there's no working relationship. Do not work for them until you see a contract, until you see it and sign it. Number two, if you have told them it's this much and they try to change it to something else in the contract, correct that before you get started. And then last but not least, I don't even know what I said last, but yes, read the contract, and make sure you are not signing anything that says you can't write for anybody else or can't take employment to anybody else anywhere else as long as you're writing for us. The people that will try to sneak that in, do not. Those are the only 3 tips on contracts I have. All right. Any more questions? Because people will try to rip you off. That's a given. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. All right. Well, this has been fantastic. Like I was sharing today, there is a lot of opportunity by 2027. A lot of the workforce is going to be freelance in some shape or form, and this is going to affect every industry. Let me tell you about what's happening in the nursing industry right now. All right, in healthcare right now, especially because of what's going on, there are nurses that are travel nurses. They are not attached to any specific hospital. They are freelance nurses essentially, and they just travel to a location that is short on nurses. They work there for a few weeks, they get a huge payout, and they leave. Okay, so this is even happening in industries that is not traditionally considered freelance. It's happening there. Okay, there are tech opportunities. People are getting paid 6 figures, but they are not full employees. They are contractors, and they live somewhere else in the world, but they work, their work is here in the United States. So freelancing and freelance contracting, regardless of what you want to call it, consulting, contracting, you are not an employee, is becoming a very popular model of work. So there is a lot of opportunity for you as a writer. And also, I told you today that there actually aren't a lot of great writers. So if you will work on your craft, okay, if you will work on your craft. Now, I know this question is coming somehow. gee, how do we work on our craft? You work on your craft by reading a lot. When I got started, I read a lot of blog posts because I really focused on writing blog content, SEO blog content. And so I would say some really good blogs you can check out. There is a blog called Backlinko. Okay, so Backlinko, I'm gonna put that in the chat. Is a good one to check out. Anything written by Neil Patel, okay, is a really, really good a piece of content piece to read. Anything by HubSpot, okay, I'm giving you all my secrets. Okay, these are really, really good places to check out how blog content is written. And also HubSpot will have like content on, and I'm creating some content on this, but before I share that with you, a place that you can go to find out how do you write a white paper? How do you write a case study? How do you write this type of HubSpot has a lot of that. They have a whole academy where you can even get certified in some of this stuff in content marketing and all of this stuff. So check them out. These are great places where you can begin to hone your craft and become a much better writer than 90% of writers out there. I'm not kidding you. I am not joking. I wish I was joking. It is true. So thank you all for joining me. This has been fantastic. If there are not any more questions, I'll wait for a few seconds as I sip my tea. Let me know if this was helpful in the chat. Just put a yes. This was helpful. Put an emoji. This was helpful, G. You should do more of these. Let me know. Let me know. I like hanging out with you guys. So now it's like, I don't want to leave. All right. Okay. Great. This is fantastic. All right. Well, every Wednesday, I go live at 12:05 p.m. Pacific time. It's lunchtime, my time. I look forward to seeing you there. If this video was helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, share it with somebody else. And I will see you all next week. Have a fantastic day. Bye.